Welcome to the After Party Podcast. I'm your host, RJ. It's your other host, Rob, and your other host, Brendan. Welcome back to the people who's joining us again, or if you're new, welcome. It's a podcast number 3 for us. So we have a good one lined up here. I think we're going to dive a little bit into, cancel culture and a little bit about some of the movie race swapping going on. But before we jump into that, if you haven't checked out some of our last podcasts that we hit up, last week we covered cancel culture too, as well as transit sports, right?
Yeah, big topic. So check it out. It's fun and juicy, and yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Right, we need that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Are you guys ready now?
Let's do it, man.
All right, we made it 3 so far. Let's keep going.
Lucky number 3.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So today let's just start out with we'll jump into cancel culture. Some of the topics we want to talk right now is let's hit up what's going on with some of the drink beverages. Some Target.
Is it just me, or does it feel like everything is getting canceled right now? Like every other day, somebody has a gripe about something, and they feel like they got to get online and bitch and moan about it. Which
only their opinions matter.
Yeah.
But
exactly, man. It looks like it became like they thought like one side was doing all the canceling, and the other side found out it could do the canceling as well. So now everybody's canceling. It's like
it's losing its its worth now though. Like it's just like I think after a little bit more of this, people are going to be like whatever.
Pretty much.
Do you think it's because elections coming up?
I would bet that so much of this is election driven by a certain party.
Well, no, the thing goes, but what you're talking about elections or not, I think it's in general. It's like if you even look at like media outlets, a lot of media outlets are focused in with certain parties, right? You can tell who's left, who's right, kind of like that, right? And I feel like if you look at some of the topics, you'll see some pushing certain topics that were like canceled by their side out there, while the other topic pushing cancel by their sides, and they're refuting the other side. You can totally clearly see it, kind of with like some of this Target stuff that's going on right now, right?
Totally,
See, Target, they had the Pride Month collection coming out. I think they had a tuck swimsuit. I think they had, but I guess the bigger deal was they had kids stuff, right, for Pride, right? That was out there. That was for kids, and at that point, you can see like the right side was kind of fighting against it, trying to cancel it, right?
Yeah.
And then you see like CNN hitting out hit pieces saying, "Oh, you should watch out for blah blah." Like it's totally both of them going against each other, and it's basically just to like you said, feed one side versus the other side, right?
It sells. It sells clicks.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it goes. So like let's going back so we don't get too off topic here, but let's talk about. So we saw what happened to Bud Light, right, with the Dylan thing, right? Mm-hmm. I think they're down 30% from last year's, right? I don't know how many billions they've lost.
I think estimated right now more than $6 billion. $6
billion?
Or million? Excuse me, million.
No, I thought it was billion. I think it's billion.
Could be billion.
$6 billion?
Yeah.
That's
well, no. Hold my beer. Target, $10 billion in 10 days. They lost.
That hurts.
They lost $10 billion. Is that what did they lose exactly? Is it lost merchandise? Did they push it out? Did they?
No. I think
lost
they
sales. Lost GMV.
Overall, like I don't want to say the value of the company, right?
Is that attributed to like what's really happening because of that, or could that be because of just the state of the economy? All these things.
Well, the thing is that it came out, and I think they're saying over 10 days. Right after that happened. So, I mean, that kind of directly relates to that, I want to say, right? Because, I mean, if it was the whole economy, like, I think, like, if you want to make that argument, which I could definitely see that argument, I think it wouldn't have just been in those 10 days. It would have been kind of...
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know, but I know, like... Stocks have tumbled the last 7 days because if the confidence in the deal being struck or not has
that too. But $10 billion though for Target because of the debit seal, I don't think that's gonna really affect it that much, right?
Yeah.
But who knows? But my thing is, so you have that going on. You have the Bud Light thing going on. They lose 30% from last year's. What I heard, and I think it's a couple billion they lost, right? Mm-hmm. So if Rob's gonna fact check this, right, Rob, fact check this so we get it right.
Yeah.
So so that stuff's going on. And it seems like you said, like one side's really pushing to cancel that side while the other side's pushing for that, right? And now we're here, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is like the whole boogeyman, right?
Yep.
People want something to be afraid of, and the whole DeSantis on the right side right now is woke culture, and nobody there can define what woke culture is. Yeah. Target and these companies coming out and providing attire to all types of people, shapes, everything shouldn't have an impact on anything, but apparently it does to them because then that's considered woke. But yeah, so it's unfortunate because you can't really go anywhere if you're a trans person and buy clothes in a public store without or without going to a special place or whatnot. And so it's sad because are they going to cancel Target because there's a maternity section there and they have women in bras and stuff that are made specifically for them? No.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just, if you don't want to buy it, don't go down the aisle and don't buy it. It's ridiculous.
I'm in the camp of, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, it can be there. My thing is, if you're against it or it's that hard against your beliefs or whatnot, I think with Target especially, it's specific about kids stuff, right? That's what.
Yeah, but like, there's no age on like when a child determines that who they are, what they want to be, right? So
but my thing is if you're going down the aisle whatnot that offends you or whatnot, or that's not against your thing, you should be able to have the dialogue to talk to your kids, like, hey, we don't believe in that, we don't, whatever, that's fine if that's what you can do. And I feel like you should be able to be strong enough to have that relationship with your kid where you can explain to them and not have to cancel something just because you don't believe in it, right?
Yeah.
So, but going back to both these things, what I find really funny here is that Bud Light, right? The Dylan thing came out, right? Again, I said on the last podcast that we had, right, on this thing, right? I think if this left it at Dylan coming out, it wouldn't have been the big news like how it was, right? What killed it was, again, the marketing lady, right, the director, coming out and bashing their people, calling them fratty and, dying brand and just making fun of these guys, right? Pretty much, right? And that came out right before, I think she recorded the day before, I think, I'm going to say, the Dylan thing happened. So you combine the two, then they're probably like, oh, what the hell is this person saying this about us, and we support their brand. And then on top of that, I mean, if you look at the profile of a Bud Light drinker, it's conservative mainly, right, from what I researched and saw, right? So then you look at, then they're probably not the most friendly to trans, I would say, right? So if you have what she said combined with this thing here, now you're really stoking the fire right there. And the thing is, with Bud Light, again, like with a beer person's profile is mainly like a man, especially I think Bud Light said was like under 50,000, male. Like I think it was like 18 to 30, something like that, right?
You're safe to say men are the most.
Well, if it's a beer, general beer profile, it's men. It's a man, right? That's what it is, right? My thing is, you're pretty much shooting the cow for like I don't have a problem with the whole thing them doing. As a business perspective, they kind of is like, you're really, especially with the marketing lady, what she said is like, why would you say that in the first place? But then you combine it with what's going on now, it just is kind of a bad look from a business side, not for actually doing it with Dylan, just from like a business point of view, kind of like, what the heck, right? But
Yeah. I mean, I think she should have never said this stuff about the client base. Like, if you're serving a certain client base, you don't talk crap about them. I think expanding your market, expanding demographics, that's part of business too, is you need to enter into new markets to grow the business, because when things are saturated, you got to find new opportunities.
Right.
But I'm sure there was ways that could go about that in a good way. Coming on the heels of that, I didn't know that. Coming on the heels of that, I could see why there's such a backlash.
Like I said, I think a lot of these companies have put out Pride stuff, and even going on right now, Under Armour released the Pride stuff. Whatever. People aren't Adidas too, right? People aren't really just canceling them, right, or whatever like that. And I feel like if it's just your Pride stuff and whatever, I think like I said, the Dylan thing, I think it would have been like blown over. People will still be drinking Bud Light. It's fine. It's just that I think that thing stoked it where they needed to grab something, and that came. Yeah. And they're like, boom! I have my whatever you want to call it, my grievance.
And this honestly isn't the first time this Target has celebrated Pride Month. They've been doing this for years and years.
That's a good point.
So, all of a sudden, after the Bud Light controversy, is when we're seeing not only Target, we're seeing Miller Lite, we're also seeing North Face, which were
Miller Lite.
Deeper
so Miller Lite is a little bit more connected to the Bud Light, even though it's not trans,
right?
Because again, they came out pretty much. Well, I wouldn't. I didn't have a problem with it. I guess a lot of people have a problem with it, like some of these guys, because they're thinking you're trashing men, pretty much, and saying, women, claiming stuff about women. Like, I guess they were among the first beer producers or whatever, and then pretty much saying, they've been objectified by ads and all that kind of stuff, right? And they want to bring them back, like ads or any like old merchandise that's like showing women off in in a provocative way or whatever way.
Yeah.
And then we're going to shred it and create it, like feed it. They're going to farm it or whatever, and make pretty much something the farm can use to grow the hops to grow beer, and it would only donate to women breweries, right, or something like that,
cool.
right?
Yeah.
So before we dive too deep into
Yeah.
this, let's show number one the Target video, so viewers out here watching know, the controversy behind it, and then after that, we'll go ahead and follow it up with the Miller Lite video, and then just discuss our thoughts of it.
Target has been taking heat on social media and in its stores over some of its LGBTQ merchandise. Now, just over a week from Pride Month in June, the company is removing certain items and making changes to its LGBTQ merchandise nationwide. Target released a statement that reads in part, "Since introducing this year's collection, we've experienced threats impacting our team members' sense of safety and well-being while at work. Given these volatile circumstances, we are making adjustments to our plans, including removing items that have been at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior." Target did not specify which items it was removing, but the swimsuits labeled tuck-friendly has garnered a lot of attention, with some on social media vowing to boycott the company over its sale of adult swimsuits for trans women who have not had gender-affirming operations.
Safety matters, and the employees' safety should come first.
Outside of a Target store in the city of Commerce, mixed reaction.
Everyone has their own way of thinking now, so they should respect and whoever believes in what they are, then just let them be.
I think they should do what's best for the employees since they're there and they're the ones actually getting harassed. And the LGBTQ community should be open to that and respect it.
Target and other big box stores have been expanding their LGBTQ displays to celebrate Pride Month for the better part of a decade. The backlash comes at a divisive moment for transgender issues. Gender-affirming care and participation in sports have been a topic of debate in states across the country.
So those are some clips here. Just give me a little more background about Target and some of the things that people are saying that they're either for or against it. I think some of the tricky thing about the situation is that some of the employees that were working at Target, were getting a little backlash for themselves for having these displays sitting up at the front of their store.
Yep.
Some of these Target employees were being threatened physically, especially some of these people that were going into stores on purpose and aggravating these employees and putting on social media is just unnecessary information that's happening, and it's kind of sad that it's doing that and it's coming to the state, but it's as simple as like if you don't like the product that they're selling, either walk past it or just don't shop there.
Yeah, guess what? Target has over 80,000 SKUs. So if you're going to get upset about something and boycott Target, look at all the things you're buying and investigate every single company and their leadership and where they're getting their money and what they're investing in and whatnot. And I bet you probably will be upset with about 90% of it. So it's just ridiculous. And I can't believe that people would get so upset and then threaten the employees that are probably making minimum wage. And it's like they have no control over what's there. They're doing their job. So unfortunate. It's sad.
Yeah, and because of those threats, Target has either decided to pull the product, from the store or push it to the back so that, the employees can feel a little safer. But the weird thing about it is like, where is this concern about safety when you're having people breaking into the stores and having, product being locked up and stuff like that? There wasn't much concern when it comes to that. But all of a sudden, they want to backtrack a little bit.
What do you think behind that?
I think it links back to, some of the backlash that, they're seeing with Bud Light for whatever reason. And I'll say this, I'm open to, whether you're, male, female, they, them, lesbian, all that. It's totally fine with me. I have no gripes about it and stuff. But for some people feel a certain way about it where, like I said, their feelings matter over everybody else's.
Yeah, because the truth of the matter is this. There are children that those at whatever age it is that are transitioning, that have had those conversations with their parents, and thank God they have accepting parents that can help them through that journey. I will never understand the difficulties of that, but we take for granted that we can go to Target and buy anything because everything's made for us, really, right? For the most part. We just want to allow people to all have the same opportunities and the same rights that everybody else does. If you don't like it, if you don't believe in contraceptives, do you go down and the condom aisle? Probably not, but do you get upset and threaten the employees?
Yeah.
Probably not. Well, I guess some of the
Or if
Planned
there's Plan
Parenthood
B.
stuff, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the same thing you say like Plan B, like this store gives out Plan B, and you're pro-life or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You'd probably be like, I don't want to shop here.
Don't shop at any Safeway, Albertsons, any shop that has a pharmacy in it. So, yeah, it's hypocritical, it's oppressive, it's closed-minded, and it's frankly, there's no room for that in the society. And I hope more people speak out against people doing that, because everybody should be able to go into a Target and buy an outfit that they like.
Yeah. So the one thing that I do want to get to more, talk a little bit about more, because honestly, it's like you see a lot of corporate saying inclusive, be inclusive, blah blah blah, and all this. You see some of the stuff that come out, but how does leadership never really feel? Is it all fake? Is it really about it, or are you all fake about it, right? Because a lot of this stuff is because I remember I asked a question before, or I brought up in the last podcast about cancel culture and like why get into an issue that's going to be divisive to people and stuff like that, because like I brought up the whole like the rumor that I don't know, like it never been verified or not, but like with Jordan when they asked him like, hey, why don't you ever say anything about it like this, and he's like, well, Republicans buy sneakers too, right? He's trying to business decision. I don't want to mess up my thing, right? So then and that always got me like, why jump into some of this stuff? But then I guess it goes back to, I guess they have something called an ESG score, right? And that's what
social credit score.
Yeah. So like it's like a environmental, social something. Every company has it. I think like what's that one company? Let me see, I have it right here.
I think China is the biggest country that's making that a big deal. Where the way that people rate your company, whether it's like customer satisfaction, finance wise, and just the way you do marketing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It can make or break your company.
So BlackRock, which is like one of the biggest companies out there, I think it has like 10 trillion, almost 10 trillion in like assets it manages, right? And these guys are pushing that ESG score a lot because they're investors, right? So the ESG scores helps you look at if your company, like that's part of if your company's good to invest with, right? And that's kind of pushing a lot of these things. Like Bud Light had a really low ESG score, so that's one of the reasons. Or like maybe do this to raise our ESG score so people will invest in it, right? And I think Target, same thing, went for the ESG score as well to go up, right? For Target, a lot of these people can sit back. Because the funny part, a lot of people like were arguing about, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, cancel this. But like some of these people who are up the top, women or men, whoever at the very top, doing some of these investing, like with these ESG scores, they can fluctuate right now with Target, right? They see Target now losing money, right?
Yeah, but here's the deal. This stuff in a week or two is going to be forgotten, and the right thing to do is to be an inclusive company and to serve all people.
Yeah.
If you have a group of people that get upset about it, guess what? They're going to want to get drunk one day and they're going to buy Bud Light when they forget about it, right? It's all going to go away. It's all temporary. This is going to be a small dip, but guess what? Target's going to continue up to the right. Bud Light's going to continue up to the right over time, just like the overall S&P 500 does, right?
I'm going to go on record here saying Target will definitely survive and go back to normal.
They have a big cachet.
Yeah, cachet, because there's a couple things. Bud Light, I think that's a tanker. That's tanking right now. And I don't know.
Anheuser-Busch owns.
No, not Anheuser-Busch. Not talking Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light.
They own Bud Light?
Yeah, but I'm only talking about the Bud Light brand.
Yeah, but so like
Anheuser will be fine.
Bud Light will be fine. Bud Light will be fine. I guarantee.
We'll see. I think that's the demographic you pissed off, and that's really the only. Because now even like you have some of the top gay bars, they're not even serving Bud Light because now they're giving backlash back to Bud Light now.
But again, like we'll talk about this in the next episode. Michael Block, Cinderella story, right? 7 days. Yeah. It's fun for 7 days. People forget this.
Yeah,
so much in the news media, it's going to go away.
Yeah, I totally agree with a lot of the stuff you're saying, but the thing is with elections hyping up right now too, I don't know how that's going to play in a factor. People are really high into into what they believe and whatnot. And for Bud Light, like again, I think they had a certain clientele which is very focused one way. You bash them in a way, then you did this that most likely a lot of them didn't believe in. And that nobody's going to come to save that beer. Like, and there's not going to be the other side is not going to be drinking that beer.
You know when they will start drinking it? When Bud Light drops their prices a little bit.
They're giving free. They're giving it free.
Yeah, well,
rebate. They're giving free.
They will
paying you for it right now.
They will be buying it again.
They're paying the price right now.
Yeah.
But
I think Bud Light's going to at least pay the price for a while. I don't think it's going to be a quick over. Target, different story because they carry so many things. They're just a store. I think think people will forget about that, especially after, I think we're Pride Month, right? That's why they were doing it.
Pride Month,
So
yeah.
after that, it'll be whatever about it. But I think one thing about with Target losing so much money, and I think a lot of people were surprised how much they lost. 'Cause I think a lot of people thought, okay, if it's just one side, you lose some, but it won't be as drastic as it was, right? But the thing it kind of showed, the one thing that I've heard on different podcasts and stuff I heard is that the one thing Democrats and Republicans will agree on is don't mess with kids. Right? If you bring something with kids, that's something they will, if they believe in something, they will be united in that regardless of politics, right? And I think you might see some of that in the Target that's going on right now, why you lost so much money there right now, right? I still think it'll go away in a month, whenever Pride Month thing's gone. Maybe in the next couple of days, it'll probably go away. But Bud Light, I'm going to set a record here. That's going to stay down for a little while at least. It's not going to be a quick turnaround on that one.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I think this is gonna all like there's
You're
so
giving
many new
you see
topics.
those videos, like you still see like the top concerts that
But dude,
Bud
that
Light
is
does.
such a small corner of the internet in general. There's so many things that are going to happen between here and the election. This will be forgotten. Many Super Bowls and big events are going to happen. College football is going to come back. Frat boys are going to want to be frat boys. And they're gonna buy it again. It's just it's going to be forgotten. I don't believe it.
What do you think?
And two, it's like they're not doing it again because of the trans. They're doing it because they bashed their customer base.
Yep.
So that's
Well,
a
I
whole
think
different
they're
story, but-
grabbing off the trans thing because they bashed the thing, right? So they're putting
Yeah.
it together now, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how it was. Again, if it was just the trans thing and the bash thing that happened, it would have been over with a long time ago, right? But I think
Yeah.
the grudge on because they even let the girl, like, she's on suspension and her boss is on suspension now, right? Because they try to blame it on like a rogue marketing person
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah, right. You just let this podcast go, now you're fired, right? So I don't know. I think, like, again, I'm good with everything. I don't care about any of that kind of stuff. But I just think Target will be definitely fine. Even right now, it's probably on the way back up. Bud Light, though, I'm still going on the record saying it's gonna be down for a little while. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards a little bit of what Brendan is saying. Is like, I think it'll be a hit for that to be taken for a while for the next few months. But I think overall, as the months pass, they'll be able to overcome it, because I think once football.
Well, the
season hits,
one thing I will say
I
is,
think it'll come back.
well, actually, hold on. I take one thing a little back right here, real quick. The one thing that will save Bud Light now, and I think Don Jr. tried to save it right now, is that he came out. They're trying to say, because they support Republicans, like parties and stuff like that. They give a lot of money to Republicans, and with elections coming up, you're going to see some of their leadership come out and be like, forgive the company. I think Don Jr. already said that, right? He's like, you need to forgive them. It was all right. It was whatever mistake, whatever. They're a great company. They give money. I think if they heard that, especially from Donald, you're probably going to see
It all goes away.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes
Their
down
master,
to
Yep.
their master spoke, so they will listen.
when it comes down to it, it's really just beer. It's not like they're an institute teaching young children
Yeah.
about X, Y, and Z and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's a beer. It's a product that you drink.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
men
But
are
again,
great consumers,
I
but-
think it's not really the trans issue. It's what she said about him, though.
Right.
I think that's what's really more on that one.
But then I guess here's the deal too. Like, everybody at every company have different beliefs, right?
Yeah.
So there's probably people at any company out there, Coors Light, that probably have similar thoughts and beliefs. Or, I mean, gosh, so we can't just cancel because somebody in the corporate thinks some way. But
Well, the thing is, if everybody goes in on this, right, which if on the Pride Month stuff and just all the stuff, then you really can't cancel anybody, right? At that point,
When does it end? When does cancel culture?
Well, no, I'm
stop?
saying if everybody's doing it, you can't be like that company with that company. Now I can't buy beer. Now,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
so-
well, wasn't there like they were going to cancel NASCAR or something too?
They
at
were?
one- Yes.
Oh,
or
my
like,
God.
dude, what are you guys going to do with your lives?
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
but yeah. What's sad though, like you mentioned the thing about how there can be Republicans and Democrats come
Yeah.
together when it comes to kid issues, but again, who are our politicians to say what the right age is for a child and their parents to decide when they can transition and if they want to wear certain things? Like, as a father, I want to always encourage my children or my son and daughter to express themselves exactly how they want. And if they have clothes that fit them and they can go into a store just like every other kid and buy things that make them feel good and included, then hell yeah, I will get behind anybody that does that. And it's, again, sad Like, if you have those opinions, keep walking down the aisle and go to the hunting aisle, bro.
Yeah, but I think though, if you have those opinions and you want to raise your kid the way you want to raise them, right? They're your kid. I think you should be able to have that relationship with them. And be like, hey, listen, we don't believe in this. If they ask questions, what this is, just explain what it is, right? Some people do this. If you don't believe it, we just tell them you guys don't believe it, then, right? I think you should be strong enough in your faith, if you believe in that, to have that strong enough connection with your kid, and then you can just take it as a one-off, talk to your kid about it. Like I said, you don't have to cancel for everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
That's
so,
what I think.
Yeah. And so kind of following up to the Bud Light campaign, Miller Lite decided to come out with the campaign, which actually really released a month before the Bud Light campaign came out, but it kind of came to the forefront after the fact. And so the name of the campaign, or what they called it, was Bad Shit to Good Shit.
Yep.
Featuring a comedian, and excuse me for pronouncing it wrong, named Ilana Glazer. And so kind of the premise behind it is the campaign was meant to take old material that Miller Lite had used in the past, whether it's women's in bikinis, old ad campaigns, things like that, scour the internet and have people send it back to Miller Lite so they can take that product and have it be converted into compost, and then from there they would then take that product and then sell it to female brewers and female growers and things like that. And so
I think female farms and then female brewery, right? It was going to go through all that. Yep.
Exactly. And so we'll show this video clip, play it for you guys, so you guys have a little background on what it is.
Here's a little known fact. Women were among the very first to brew beer ever. From Mesopotamia to the Middle Ages to colonial America, women were the ones doing the brewing. Centuries later, how did the industry pay homage to the founding mothers of beer? They put us in bikinis. Wow. Look at this shit. Wild. It's time beer made it up to women. So today, Miller Lite is on a mission to clean up not just their shit, but the whole beer industry's shit. Miller Lite has been scouring the internet for all this shit and buying it back so that they can turn it into good shit for women brewers. Literally, good shit. How, you ask? Ladies, take it away.
First, we turn the bad shit into compost. Then we feed compost to worms. Push out beautiful fertilizer. That good shit helps farmers grow quality hops,
which is then donated to women brewers to make their own really good shit.
But there's definitely more shit out there. In your attic, in the garage, in your parents' basement. Send any shit you got into Miller Lite, and they'll turn that into good shit too. Oh. So here's to women, because without us, there would be no beer.
So that was the ad. And so just to kind of follow up on what they were doing, they were basically taking those material, turning into compost, where they would use worms to basically have the output of fertilizer, which would then grow hops, and then they would send those hops to farmers so that the brewers
So women farms, women brewers, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Women farms and women brewers.
And this came out during Women's History Month.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like I said, a month before the Bud Light campaign with Dylan came out.
So what I got out of that is women played a massive role in bringing beer, one of our favorite beverages in the world, to us. Then the beer industry, the marketing industry, learned that sex sells and objectified women, right? And made this very much a man's drink, a man's everything, man showed, chugging, everything's man dominated in America in general and in the world. So then people are upset about this because they're supporting women brewers and they're supporting people.
At this point, it's more of the men bashing.
I was going to ask you. See, that's what I want to ask you. Where did you get men bashing out of that video?
I think it's just when it came to the part where they talk about them being objectified in the campaign, as men being the main consumers. The premise behind it is men were only buying the products because they were, scantily clad women.
I don't feel like it should be. I don't feel like this should be canceled or whatever whatsoever. I thought it was nicely, whatever. It's great. It's also good. Women's wealth, that's great. My thing is, though, if you're going to bash the executives, there has to be some accountability on the women that actually posed for this stuff too, right? It wasn't like they were forced to do it either, right?
They were paid and
they were paid. My thing is,
what we think.
Well, yeah. Hey, if it comes out they weren't paid, then I take it back. I take it back.
Yeah.
You know, I just totally take it. But I say there's some accountability on both sides there. But at the end of the day, I think what they were doing is like, hey, they want to erase some of that old stuff. So be it.
Yeah, not only were they raising awareness on, females and the history behind, how they've had, female brewers in the past.
Yeah.
They wanted to, reduce their carbon footprint, and so they were able to take that product and make it sustainable.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's not a cancel thing. Like, that's stupid.
I really don't see the idea behind the backlash. I mean, I think it was a good campaign to run.
Honestly, they didn't. I mean, like you said, you can be like, okay, they're man bashing because men look at it or whatever. But I mean, it wasn't really bashing on men.
Yeah, I feel like it was taking accountability of like, hey, like we did this in the past, and all companies did, and like after looking back, like that probably wasn't the right thing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So now we want to make up for it, and we want to actually empower women again and create more good shit. Like that's awesome.
Take the bad shit to the good shit. The accountability. We made some this. Now, like you said, exactly. I think the companies, you said, taking accountability of what they did.
Yeah.
So, bravo to them, I guess, right?
Yeah, because, as we kind of talked in the last episodes, like there's so many things evolving and nothing's permanent, right?
Oh,
so like this is an evolution of marketing and everything and all this Me Too movement, right? We're going to get to a place where, I think it's going to be a lot better. And even with all the cancel stuff, sure, swing your sword and cancel things that you want, and it's going to be a lot right now, and eventually it's going to simmer down. And it's
once you cancel like everything, everybody's going to cancel everything. Then they're going to be like, wait a minute.
I feel like it's like the boy that cried wolf.
Yeah,
right? It keeps being like, whoa, oh my god.
This is an example of it.
So now it's like
this is an example of it, right? It's like you're really reaching for straws to cancel Miller Lite over this commercial.
I can't drink this, this brand of beer now because you feel like this. Like, come on, like.
But to be kind of fair here, Miller Lite hasn't taken that big of a hit on it, though.
No,
right?
not as big as a hit as the Target or the Bud Light or anything like that. I mean, some of the good things that came about it is they kind of, through the website URL in the ad, is they created a donation page where people could donate directly to these brewers and farmers around the world. Yeah. And not only that, they created a series of videos where women brewers shared their stories on, some of the things that happened along the way and some of the challenges they faced when, just being in that industry. Not only that, they had a few hashtags that came out that they posted on Instagram and Twitter to help spread awareness. Hashtag Women's Brew Rule and hashtag Women's Hops Farmers Rule.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, the other thing too, so Miller Lite had come out with Open and Proud as well.
That?
So I can read a little blip from it, but essentially what they did. So Miller Lite aims to create safer, more accepting spaces at bars for members of the LGBTQ plus community because we believe that everyone should be able to be their true self. So they did town halls and they went out and found all the different unique intersections of the needs of the LGBT community, and really they're cultivating inclusive spaces for all bar patrons because
that's cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So they did an amazing job on supporting all communities and being inclusive, and that's how bars should be, because your bar is your local community.
Wait, but the director of marketing didn't do a podcast beforehand?
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
So they did a beautiful job.
That's perfect.
Yeah, they did a great job. I'm a fan of Miller Lite.
Yeah, exactly. And both things to the Miller Lite right here. If you're trying to cancel any of that, like, dude, you're stupid. I don't know what else to say. Like, that's just bad.
You're just a mean person.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe not. I mean, I guess give some people some grace in this world. There's not much opportunity, especially if you grew up in a culture where it's just constantly said things.
Yeah, that's true. I take that back. That's right.
They're getting rid of books and things in certain states.
If you learn one way, you learn one way, right?
Yeah. It takes many years and hard conversations.
But I don't know. Both of those I thought were totally fine. Like,
so pretty tame.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
I don't know. I think going through that, I think just wrapping up those final thoughts, kind of on these ones. I think with Target, I think all of us here feel blimp. I'll go back up now. And I honestly think the stockbrokers and everybody, they're like just drooling on this because Target's going down in stock and stuff, and they're like, okay, we might fire the CEO. When the new CEO gets hired, stock's gonna go right back up. We're gonna make some money, So they're sitting back there. So Target's gonna be fine. Bud Light, again, Donald Trump might save them, or some Republican company might save them there. But if they don't, I think it's gonna be a little longer to recover than what many people think here. You guys think it'll be quicker? I think it'll be a little longer.
Yeah, I could see by the end of summer, their 20% dip comes back to be normal.
Well, baseball
see.
season's here, right? And this,
Yeah, it'll be the finals. Football season's kicking off.
Yeah.
That's when things are going to go back to normal, I think.
I don't know, because like, what happens if like these people have now changed to Miller Lite and Coors Light and be like, oh, I love this stuff. You know, this stuff's pretty good. Those are exact same, you know, with those tailgates.
Yeah, that's true.
There,
They
you know?
could.
I mean, there is a taste difference
Yes.
between Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light.
There is.
Wait, again,
Back in
rank
college-
them, rank them. Go. Out of those three.
So I would do, so like, are we talking like MGD?
No,
Remember the
no.
MGD drafts? Those are like,
You want? I was gonna go to Bud Light, Miller Lite, and just Coors.
Yeah, Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light.
I
Those
would
three.
do probably Bud Light, Coors, Miller Lite.
Okay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Coors, Miller, Bud.
Miller, Coors, Bud.
Yeah, I was,
So we're-
I was close to that one.
In college,
So we're all different.
in college,
Yeah.
Bud Light was the,
I love
the
Bud
fancy
Light.
beer.
But yeah.
I love Bud Light. It's like
Huh?
my go-to because it,
Whoa, where's Bush?
oh, well, you know, that has a
Yeah,
spot in
Bush,
my heart.
Bush Light.
Bush Light, #1.
Hey, who
bombs.
owns that?
I don't know, actually.
Anheuser-Busch,
Yeah.
yeah. It's all owned by
Yeah.
they own pretty much like all beer. It's
Michelob.
crazy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's
Pullman
like
water for the
yeah,
folks that don't know about
yeah,
that.
Yeah, there you go. But like as I was saying, like that's the other thing about, like I said, when I say Bud Light is brand, that in a silo, I'm saying would take a longer. Like
Yeah,
they
I see.
own so many other things.
Yeah.
You're not gonna take a hit on that, right? On that stuff. So, but all right. So are we good there? Any last thoughts there?
Oh, I'm
Just
good.
man, like accept people, man.
Yeah.
Just be. If you don't like something, keep going. If it's
Before we
not,
cancel everything.
yeah.
for everyone.
If your beliefs are oppressing somebody else, then
Yeah.
like you probably don't have the right beliefs. I'm sorry, but talk to a therapist.
Yeah.
I think we do have one more topic that's somewhat related, and that's for the North Face
Oh, what?
campaign.
Can you break that one down?
Yeah,
Okay,
and
I'm not too
so
familiar.
pretty much North Face came out with a campaign called Summer of Pride,
Mm-hmm.
which features a drag queen as a spokesperson. Her name is Patagonia, and so on Instagram they came out with an ad, which, you know, since that has come out, they've turned their comments off. That just talks about coming out into the wilderness and spreading awareness on Pride Month. And so we'll show that clip here.
Hi, it's me, Patagonia, a real-life homosexual. And today I'm here with the North Face. We are here to invite you to come out in nature with us. Wow, this is nice. We like to call this little tour the Summer of Pride. This tour has everything. Hiking, community, art, lesbians making art. Last year, we gay sashayed across the nation and celebrated Pride across the nation with hundreds of you across the nation. This year, we're back again with 2 new stops. Atlanta, GA. Why? Because you're there. In Salt Lake City, we're coming for you.
Patty, can we go?
Of course! This year, all these fabulous speakers will be coming from inside this TV to a nature near you. So come outside and celebrate the beautiful LGHGTV community. It's pretty gay.
And so that was that campaign. Thoughts on that one?
There's a lot there, and I mean, I think it's bold by
Yeah.
North Face, and I think it's awesome, and I think it's great that, I mean, if you think about it, I'm going to take a dark angle here. How many people growing up in the different eras never saw it ever being okay to come out?
Yeah.
Right.
And how many of them never did? And how many of them committed suicide? Or how many of them came out later in life and had years of shame and drama? And I mean, that would be a horrible way to live. So kudos to North Face for coming out and being bold, especially in a time where other states are canceling drag queens.
Yeah.
Because they think it's a danger to children, where it's not. It's an art form. It's beautiful. And who cares what their sexual orientation is? And I think it's a great way to also, once again, as a company, expand your total addressable market, because guess what? Gay people like to camp too. And that's great. So, yeah.
Wait, real
and
quick.
two,
Yeah.
is this their only campaign? Probably not. So it's during Pride Month, right? So
They
like,
did it last year too.
Celebrate
once
it.
again,
But like,
yeah.
again, like, just wanted to point out that they can create campaigns that cater to different segments
Yeah.
and groups, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because guess what? They probably had multiple campaigns that were oriented towards people just like me or everybody here. So,
Yep.
so yeah, I think it's great.
Not Indians. They're never not Indians. But what I was gonna say is no. But like you said, it's like they did it. It's Pride Month. They did it on Pride Month.
Yeah.
What's the big deal, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, this shouldn't be a big deal on my end. But okay, when you guys think of North Face, what cities do you guys think of?
Pacific Northwest.
You?
Yeah, Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that those
cold,
are,
wet weather.
So I just think that those are like very accepting people in general. I'd say, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very eclectic.
I think
when
in
it comes to
Colorado.
people. Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that their tour dates or their stops are in Atlanta, Georgia, and Salt Lake City.
Why?
Well, I think.
Oh no.
Georgia.
No, you said Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh,
GA.
GA.
Why?
Atlanta, GA. Why? Yeah, that was clever. I didn't pick it up. I'm glad you picked that up. But yeah, I think it's great. Those are two, typically Republican places and that are conservative. And
That's a good point.
It's
I
great.
think they're having, like you were saying, the drag show bannings were around that area, right? I think
Yeah.
Tennessee, I know they're one of
Something
them.
in Florida, I can't
Probably
remember
Florida.
if they're getting rid of educational books and saying that those are
Florida
more
has
dangerous.
the other, they have the other, the bill. I forgot what the name of the bill. I know the short name that they try to give it, but I don't think it's entirely accurate of the actual bill. Yeah, they have that with Ron DeSantis. That's what Disney and Ron DeSantis fight is about. That, right? Disney came out to support it. Ron DeSantis is against it. Blah blah blah. That kind of happened there. So, but yeah, Florida has some stuff going on. Tennessee is the one with the drag show ban. I want to say, right? Even though I think their governor has done drag or has pictures in drag. I want to say. I don't know. One of the two, right? But I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that's different with North Face when it comes to other companies is that the leaders of North Face has actually re-upped and stood behind the brand, saying that they support the LGBTQ plus community and want to emphasize that everyone should be, inclusive.
I love it. It's a way to be bold. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing here is just like this pendulum, and everything's in equilibrium. Things I think are always going to hopefully go positively to the right direction. But yeah, we're going to have constant back and forth between companies doing this and people getting upset about it. And I think over time, those people upset are going to see that everybody's inclusive and they're going to hop on board finally and maybe grow and learn and change a little bit.
Yeah, just going back to like I said, what cities and places you think when you hear North Face, and I'd have to look in more detail where the shoppers are, but I don't think it's that big of a leap standing behind that, with them because of their brand and where they're where most of their people
That's a good point.
are. Yeah. So I think it's great, but I'm just saying I don't think it's like Bud Light.
Demographics are very
exactly.
But yeah, no,
cheaper to buy.
Yeah,
that's
North Face not cheap.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Cool. No, good catch on that one. I forgot about that. So yeah. Nice. All right. Any more final thoughts on that, real quick?
I think we hit the head on the hammer on those topics.
Yeah, I think so. We're good.
All right. Cool. Let's go to the second one today, which is kind of along the line still, right? But it's we're gonna tackle the Citi Bike Karen thing that went down, and we're gonna talk about the Uber DEI head getting on suspension for having two trainings on, I think it's called "Don't Call Me Karen." I think, right? So
yeah.
I think do you want to start off with the Citi Bike Karen? You want to play the video real quick?
Yeah.
Give a little dialogue.
Yeah, and so kind of the premise behind the video is it kind of starts off in the middle. But a nurse who's in her scrubs, who happens to be pregnant at the time, is accused of stealing a bike that was, quote unquote, rented out to a black male teenager and everything. And so we'll go ahead and play this video, give a little more insight, and then we'll come right back and then just discuss about it.
No, record him.
Help me! Please help me!
It's not your bike.
Please help me!
This is not your bike. It's not your bike.
Please help me! Help! Please get off me!
Hey, what the fuck? What's going on, bro?
Please get off.
Yo, don't not take it, bro. Now you're not getting the bike, bro.
Yeah, now you're not getting the
bike.
Help!
You're not getting the
Get off
bike.
me,
I'm
dude.
not.
Why you took his phone? What's wrong with you?
You're not
Don't touch
touching
his
my
phone.
phone.
Do not touch his phone.
I'm not touching you. You putting your stomach on my hand.
My dude, stop. No. My dude, stop. No. I said no. I said sit down.
Please help.
She's just crying.
You're not crying. I got you on video. Wait, you pulled it out? Hey, Hassan, you pulled it out? Hassan, you pulled it out?
This is my bike. It's on my account. Please move.
All right, so why don't we reset the bike?
I'm not resetting the bike.
It's his.
Reset it. I'm gonna pull it out on your account.
You are active.
I don't give a fuck.
Stop fake crying. He's fake crying. Stop fake crying.
Hey, stop touching me. I don't touch you.
Hold up.
Hey, stop touching me. Stop touching me.
Why don't you take this bike?
Stop touching me.
I will.
Exactly. So take it. So take it.
Buddy, you're stupid ass. Fuck out of here. Dumbass. Your baby gonna come out with
Wait, how you stop crying? Not a tear came down, miss. Not a tear came down.
And we're back. And so this video is something that they called, or they dubbed, the Citi Bike Karen, which has sparked a lot of controversy with millions of viewers online. And so the attorneys claim that, this person, we don't have her name, of course, because it's still under investigation, is being treated unfairly. I think the tricky part when it comes to watching this video is you don't see the full context of what happened from beginning to end. So it starts right in the middle to where, that person and that lady were going back and forth saying who actually checked out the bike or not. There's some crying that ended up happening, and then some, struggle back and forth between, that Citi Bike, and there's a person, sitting there filming the video, trying to tame a little bit, trying to say that it's this one person's bike and not theirs, and things like that. And so it's like I said, in my opinion, it's a little tricky to tell who's the actual owner of the bike, who actually rented it out.
I think one of her coworkers comes up to try to sort it out, then told her finally, hey, just check out another bike. Then she checks out another bike.
Yeah, so the whole premise is they're literally fighting over one bike, and neither of them want to give the bike up.
So just a little context. That's the main context that everybody is gotten, and then they're going off of. And then they were like, I think one side came out saying, white woman weaponizing tears against black people. Then the lady, we have her name, but I'm not gonna she's been doxxed enough already and threatened, so we don't need to say her name. But her and her lawyer came out, and they showed receipts that she did check the bike out, right? She had the bike out. But I guess but nobody's really talked to, I never saw anybody talk to the gentleman, right? And kind of his story with it, right? So I found an article on it, right? I think his sister's talking about it. He's 17 years old, so it's a little harder to get his story out because he's a minor, I think, at this point. But apparently he got the bike from the Bronx or
Harlem. He rode the bike down.
It took like 45 minutes, something like that. They rode the bike. I guess after 45 minutes,
the price goes up.
Yeah, the price surge goes up on these, and you redock them and you recheck them out to keep like a lower price, right?
Exactly.
So I guess at this point they redocked it, and their friends and them were leaning on their bikes, and I don't know if he was away from his bike or he's still next to it, but it was in the docking station. I don't think he rechecked it at the time, but he was like, I don't know if he was leaning on it, but then his friends were by it. Then she checked it out on her phone.
Well, the thing that I saw was that they were standing by it, and she asked if she could get the bike, and he said he was using it and declined.
So
then she went ahead and checked out the bike.
Yeah.
So even though he declined, he had his hands on the handlebar.
Yeah.
So it's like we're fighting about who was there first, basically.
Yeah,
and
so it goes, so as I say, so it goes by. That's what I was saying. From her,
so she stole the bike from a kid.
So
that's what happened. And then she cried about it.
So my thing. He put the bike in the dock, right? And then this is where we don't know what happened exactly because the recording came in halfway, right?
Yeah.
They're saying that, she, like I said, on her side, it was like the bike wasn't checked out, so I checked on my phone, so I was taking the bike. He's saying that she came up and said, can I have the bike or whatnot, and he's declined. Well, he asked her friend. He said her friends, so they're all friends, all declined. Then she asked him. He's like, no, I have a 45-minute like bike back. I can't let you have or I can't get home. And then I think he's saying she checked it out, right? So that's kind of where we're at with the thing. So overall, the one thing is like it's still hard to see what happened there, right? We don't have the full context, I think, right? You can believe one side or you can believe the other side, right? Yeah. That part. What I will say is that the video was a little awkward. Yeah. The crying was a little.
Yeah.
I didn't see any tears.
Yeah, my stance on how she was like, help, please, whatever, you know. So it's like, this is playing into I think this is bullshit. I'm sorry. You're an adult. This is a child. Yeah. This is a kid. 17, whatever.
Other bikes are there.
On a bike, other bikes are there. Yeah. You asked. It was declined. That doesn't give you what you did. She escalated the situation by being an asshole about it, honestly.
Yeah. Well, again, we don't know, though, that's the actual story.
Yeah, it could be. It could not be, right? Yeah, allegedly, this is what happened. If that's the case, then yeah.
So my thing is I'm not going to make a judgment because I'm not going to believe his side or her side because I don't have enough.
But have we heard anything else come out about the group being aggressive or anything like that? No.
No.
Which is typically, I feel like that they would try to say something along those lines. Nothing aggressive happened. I would lean towards this kid and his friends were doing exactly what they said they were. And like you said, he's 17, so it's harder to get stories out because he's underage.
Yeah.
Either he's a minor. So yeah, it's an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, and so just some backstory. We're talking about this video now, but the video actually released a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And so since then, this person who decided not to show the proof that she purchased, that bike at the time, she did show a picture out of the receipt stating that she had reserved the bike and that bike at X, Y, and Z time, a few weeks later and stuff. And so, once again, back and forth.
The thing goes back to like she has receipts, so she reserved the bike. But I think the guy saying he was on the bike told her she can't have it because he was docking it. My thing is, dude, just recheck the bike out.
Then. If you dock it, you're technically done. You docked it. It's
well,
open for someone else to book.
he was not doing it because he had to wait 5 minutes or something in order for him to keep the lower price.
Oh, yeah,
because he gets a discount for something in it with his family, so but you can only do up to 45 minutes. So you have to dock it, wait 5 minutes, and get it again.
Gaming the system a little bit. Are you docking the charger? Or are you docking it to game the system? So
well, if you technically go by technicality, it was in the dock. She checked it out, the receipt. She actually has entitled to it, right?
Yeah, if you're up there and you're touching the bike first, and if he's in the process,
if it's process,
yeah, but he's in the process and she checks in, like that's an asshole move. I'm sorry. Like,
but
if you're gonna go and like pick out his seat and I zoom in front of you and say, this is mine, I'm gonna sit by your family now, I would be like, you're a fucking asshole.
Well, I hope I would have bought my seats ahead of time.
I'm a child. Like, what the heck?
For her, is like.
She's a nurse. She can get a fucking Uber.
Yeah, but
this kid doesn't have money. If we want to talk about what's
not anymore,
right,
she's on leave, bro.
Well, guys, if we want to talk about what's right, the fact that this is his only transportation in the richest world in the country, we can go down that avenue too, because it's fucking bullshit. There should be better public transportation that's free and equitable for everybody. And so, like, this is ridiculous.
There is NYC. There is public transportation, but it sucks. And it's scary.
Would you be upset where you had to basically pay for a bike twice, even though you only got to use it once?
We're talking about
like when she checked out the bike and he says reserve, so she would then have to recheck another bike, so she's getting charged twice for actually renting one bike.
So my question, so she did check out another bike. So that's my question was, did she have to pay for the other bike still, or would it be?
I'm assuming she had to pay for it at that time twice, and then.
I believe it.
So what happened? Yeah, because what happened? What happened was that she checked it out, pulled the bike out of the dock, and then he pushed it back into the dock to relock it. So my thing is, would it charge her the full ride, or would it just be like 1 second?
Yeah, depends on the bike. I think.
Yeah, and
per minute.
And we're talking like 40 cent. We're talking about pennies here, guys.
Yeah, I'm saying if it's
I'm okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm more concerned about getting a ride home than I am about 45 cents.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing a nurse would feel the same way.
Yeah, my biggest thing is the crying wolf. Playing to that picture where that, of course, if a cop comes and
a taller black man.
A group of men.
A group of men.
Tears you're expecting and stuff like that. You're automatically gonna get that side of the spectrum.
Like that's dangerous. Like in this America, in New York, right? Like that is like attempted murder, damn near, because it's like. That shit goes south a lot.
Oh, I don't know. I think New York. I think New York, you'd be safe. The way they police, they're gonna go after the white person. This is the same city where the store owner protected his store, and then they're trying to arrest him for taking down the shoplifter, right? or the person trying to rob him. Like this old guy, right? So it's kind of like I know New York's backwards, but
I've heard that though. I remember working at AT&T. Even here, they tell you do not engage because
corporate says you don't.
Yeah.
Corporate. This is not corporate. This is the big what do we call it? The corner stores in New York.
But yeah, I think the rule's the same. Like if you hurt somebody, no matter what, like they have the right to sue.
Yeah, don't chase them in the establishment.
Yeah,
but you also have if the guy's attacking you, you have the right to defend yourself. That's what he did. Well, I mean, if you're an old ass dude and the big dude's like beating you down, like you're gonna have to deal with what's gonna be.
Hope your coworkers would jump in.
Yeah.
But if you're the sole person not working at the bodega or what it's called,
defend yourself as much as you can. I mean,
I say
tough.
man. I say if you come in to steal, or you're trying to do damage or whatever, you get killed. Now you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes, man. That's the way it goes. But
I don't know if a life is worth somebody's stealing something for it, though.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying just like a regular stealing or whatever. I'm saying if you're beaten down and doing stupid shit like that, you're gonna get caught with something.
Oh, yeah.
That's on you. I'm not saying steal. If you go run in and you steal something, I'm not gonna be like kill you over that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
I
talking
was
about
like, whoa, I don't know it's worth a life, bro.
They don't pay you enough at the store for
No.
that.
It's just a case
No,
of
because I
bagels.
worked at Circuit City too back in the
Yeah.
day, and it was, I remember the thing is like, don't chase the person.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's like, don't chase the person. All right.
Yep.
There they go.
Yeah. So I think just, this video and some of the other ones we've seen is just, it highlights the importance of understanding, context, and making sure that,
Well, I think there's a lot of people that came out,
Yeah.
talking about she's demonizing tears and stuff, and then like I think Crump, that lawyer, right, the main lawyer that's doing a lot of these cases here coming up, especially with the police officers killing black people, right? The Benjamin Crump, right, whatever his name is, right? I think he deleted his tweet whenever some of the stuff came out. Another guy deleted his tweet when like, oh, she has receipts or whatever like that. So it's kind of funny, like, all right,
Well, the receipts just prove that, she
She
didn't listen to him and said "fuck you" basically, and whatever.
But you're believing one side still.
Yeah, but guess what though too?
Yeah.
She got $130,000 from this.
Yeah, she got a big GoFundMe.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
So,
but I think he is
she's
now.
okay.
He got a GoFundMe going too right now. I don't know. I think he's been raising quite more now
Really?
recently. Yeah. Once
Okay, well, there's the judge and jury,
Yeah.
guys. So she's an asshole and he was in the right.
You're on leave
How's
of
that?
absence. I mean,
Well, how
it's tough.
does that go? I don't understand that.
If a GoFundMe, I'm saying like if more people are supporting him financially.
Oh no,
it's
I don't
like
think he's
full.
at her level yet.
Oh really? We should.
Yeah.
We should look it up. Well, I guess how do
I look up there's a story that the sister and the mom or the sister's on. I forgot what it was. They were talking about it, but my thing is like I don't know if he's wrong or if she's wrong. I still don't know the whole context of it. So I just think it was this awkward situation where you just check out a different bike, which she did at the end of the day.
Ain't worth all this trouble.
I thought it was just awkward. The whole help.
Hurting me, help.
I think she was like just really weird with that shit. And then one comment was funny though. One of the guys like, the baby's gonna come out retarded. I was like, shit, man, you gotta go that low. Like, go on.
So he's up to 95K.
Yeah, I think she's 100 and something. He's 95,
130,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're both
He's just
making
started.
money off this.
Court of public opinion.
But I think they're
It's
both.
a bit-
I think all money's supposed to go legal or something, right? So,
yeah. So there's gonna be a lot of this is gonna be a lot of stories that come out about this. I'm
So
sure. Just
hit that subscribe button because we're gonna follow up and follow the story along and
Yeah.
see what happens here.
Definitely will be.
Yeah.
So that's one part of it. So I think the City Bike. What are you guys' final thoughts on that? I think not enough evidence to say. I think she should have just been like, this is not worth the trouble. I'm gonna check out a different bike, which she ended up doing. That's what I think.
Yeah, same thing. Whole 10, 15-minute ordeal, however long it takes, should have been resolved by just getting another bike and move on with your day.
You're a grown adult, lady.
Yeah.
Move on. Get a different bike. You could have been home by now.
I mean, he was kind of nice about it. He could have gotten physical if she did that to the wrong person. And
Yeah.
so that's it's one of those
True.
things like you don't really know when it comes to
Yeah.
those sort of things.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, each of them have a story. Empathetically, I see. Yeah, she just probably just worked a 12-hour shift. She's
12-hour shift,
pregnant,
yep.
on her feet all day, tired. These kids say no. I too might just be like, fuck this. Like, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm going home.
Yeah.
You can get a different bike, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, both. I guess in a way, both are wrong. Like they both.
Yeah,
they
no
were
saying.
emotionally charged and made bad decisions.
I mean, they just could have been easily diffused easily
100%.
that way, right? So,
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump to the next part of it, which is the Uber DEI training, right? I think they had two trainings. I think the training, correct me if I'm wrong, was called "Don't Call Me Karen." Right, and I think it was pretty much the Karen word and relating to white females, right? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
and so it was basically the premise behind it was supposed to be, she was hosting an event. She's been with the company actually since 2018. Her name is Bo Young Lee. And so it was tended for these events to have an open conversation about race. And in what it was kind of focused on is the white people that worked in the company and the persona as it worked with the company behind the word Karen. And so some of the things that they experienced, whether working with the company or outside of the environment, and just some of the things that they've experienced just being a successful person.
Yeah, and then real quick, she came in. She was hired by the new CEO because the previous, I don't know what CEO, whoever it was, but the previous guy was like a horrible wreck, right? He was sexual assaults here. Like, he was running bad. So they're trying to turn that place around or whatnot, right? So I think so. She had these 2 sessions go on. I think there was complaints mainly by Hispanic and black women saying this felt more of a lecture that they were getting from white ladies, right, from their perspective, right? And I think the one quote, one of the articles said, she said, hold on, let me pull it up right here real quick. I have it here. Right here. She said, sometimes being pushed out of your own strategic ignorance is the right thing to do.
So she acknowledged that what she did was wrong. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think ultimately, you know, when they put her on immediate leave or on leave and things like that, she did agree with, you know, the thought process behind it. She didn't fight it or anything like that. She didn't go on Twitter and, you know, bash the company or anything like that.
But she also probably got paid something under the table to not to say that and just go with it.
Yeah. And so some of the things, there's a group within the company that were part of a Slack group actually.
Yeah.
Called like Black at Uber or I forgot the other Hispanic ones at Uber. But they just talked about how especially the second training where it was supposed to be an open discussion for internal employees about the first training that occurred. They basically said that was, you know, tone deaf, was offensive and triggering and stuff like that. But they felt there.
Do we have the one thing we don't have is like the context of that first session? Like, what exactly was it?
Right.
You know, was anything come out?
No, a lot of it because, you know, these sort of sessions that were internal, they weren't necessarily recorded, and so there was a leaked conversation, Slack conversation that talked about what some people internally thought about that training and stuff like that.
Have you guys taken like DEI training at work?
We do at work. We have, you know, every few months we have training modules that's related to, you know, harassment within the company.
Yeah, we have
there
harassment,
are some
work
DEI
violence
trainings.
And we've had, we had a couple exercises at the place I worked at. Bullshit.
For those who don't know what DEI stands for, it stands for diversity, inclusivity, and inclusion.
I don't know. The ones I've been to, some of them were just kind of like, one of them, they're like, they list out a bunch of people that are just different, right? Some are white, black, brown, blah, 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 right? They have backstories. Some are trans, some are something else, lesbian, some are gay, you know, blah, blah. Right. And they just list some of that down and how long. Some are older because they have experience, ages them, right? And stuff like that. And then I remember one training, it was kind of like, so out of all these people, who would you hire for this project? And I remember we had to go around and talk about it. And then my group is very diverse. We probably had everybody of all nationalities, but all of us were kind of like, what the, like, seriously? Like, you want us to hire somebody based on their skin color and that right now? It's like, no. I stood up. I was like, I wouldn't hire anybody because I don't know what they were going to bring to what their project idea was. I need to know that
What's
first.
What's your skill set?
Like, so what you're teaching me is let me look for somebody that looks like this, that's whatever, and go with them regardless of if their project's the best or not, which is like, no.
I mean, it's unfortunate because, you know, it's one of those things where you feel like they have to meet a quota. And so even in the NFL, they have those things where, you know, you have to interview.
The Rooney Rule, right?
The Rooney Rule, you got to interview at least one black coach.
But the Rooney
whether
Rule,
or not they're going to be they're actually going to be part of the hiring conversation or just to check that box.
But the Rooney, that's the thing with the Rooney. That's why I go by some of the DEI. I think there's a Harvard study saying DEI training is actually more harmful than it was. It's showing it's more divisive than it is because some people who don't realize if they're privileged or not get more mad about it or whatever, blah, blah. I don't know. Some article that came out like that or thing from Harvard, right? So, but my thing is the Rooney Rule. That kind of makes it worse, I think, right? It's not really, you know,
the results you see
because
there's kind of like successful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, that's because I think the NFL has some collusion shit going on.
A lot of owners,
right? Yeah, a lot of owners stuff. But I had a conversation with somebody that worked at a very big tech firm. Yeah. I will not name it.
Name it. Drop it. No. Don't. No. Are you canceled right now, bro?
No, okay. Well, but
technically you could. We don't know the person's name.
Well,
you may know the company.
No, the company's fine as long as we.
It rhymes with beta.
Oh.
So, but yeah, they basically said that.
So Google, right?
Yeah, but they basically said that when they're interviewing and whatnot, even if there's a better candidate, if there is, they'd have to take the diverse hire.
Yeah.
And in a way, like, I'm almost okay with that in some aspects because, like, they need to have more opportunities. And it's if you look at the breakdown in tech specifically, it is so dominated by white men, and so like I can see why they have some of those rules and instances, especially when you're that big. But for smaller companies, I think that would be hard. And like we put a huge emphasis on trying to hire a diverse team, and it is really, really difficult. And what we notice is that it's because they typically don't have the risk tolerance, right? Because they don't have the socioeconomic background, typically. Not speaking in general, speaking in general terms.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like we had many offers decline because it's like, hey, I just can't take this risk right now, and that's what happens with the startup. So even with best efforts, it's really, really hard to create diversity. And I'm proud to say we have a very diverse team. But it takes a concerted effort to make that stuff happen.
Yeah, my thing is like I feel with some of that is, like I said, I have like that one, like just in training, if we're going back to just touching their training stuff like that, like I've been through some of the training, I was like, what the like some of that stuff, like even like after, like whenever I remember we had a phone call with about some of the violent stuff that was going on. I think it was after a George Floyd thing or something like that, right? It was on the phone call with a bunch of people, and the director wanted to talk about hey, people of colored, right? Of course, you use that word. People of colored, share your stories, right? Whatever, right? And they have some people go on, and then we have quite a bit of Asians, Indians there as well. And I feel like when they came up to trying to share their stories, it was kind of like, oh okay, where's the black person? where's the let me hear your story, right? Or something like that. It's kind of like you have to be the right.
Well, again, I think in like this, I guess it depends on the industry, but same person I was told in the tech industry, if you're Indian or Asian or white, you aren't seen as a minority.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it is.
Yeah, you're seen as a dominant class. So it really, truly is.
That's even in college universities now.
Yeah.
If you're seeing the Ivy Leagues against like Asians, right? Right now, there's the whole thing where it's like, they can't take so many, or they have a certain thing that will cap it at, even though if they deserve it or not, right? So it's like,
you're almost building its own internal like gender, race, and culture war because
exactly.
You're
That's
trying
what I'm saying.
to fight, and you're trying to fight that fight within your own company where it should just be open to everybody.
Exactly. So I don't know. My thing is going back to the topic of the Karen thing. What do you guys think about that, just in general, and being taught as diversity and inclusion?
I think it should be taught to companies just to make awareness.
Yeah.
But I think really the material that you send out, and it's really hard to cater to everybody. I'll premise it by that. But material should be enough to where people can have the open dialogue and discussion, and be open and honest about it. Because what's the point of having this whole DEI type of training if you can't be honest with the company that you work with? You shouldn't get backlash for actually speaking the truth, because ultimately you want your employees to talk what they really think about the company. And sometimes when it comes to that, you feel like you have to hold back because you don't want to be canceled, excluded, or canceled, and lose your job because of telling them how you really feel.
Well, I feel like we need more context. Like, what was the training about? Because if it was like, hey guys, this is DEI, right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. So even if there's a Karen in the car complaining, or someone on the team, right, that is whatever, like, this is how we got to learn to work with it and whatnot. But I don't know. No. I really don't know. I found a quote or a comment on an article about this, and I want to read it real quick to get your opinion, because I think what they captured was really interesting. And there's actually a few, one for and one against, but I don't know if we want to get into that. But so this lady, her name is Talisa Rafferty. She goes, I wish I could agree with this. The issue wasn't 2 lectures. It was the company's inability to point out and work against the white is right norm. There is no placating white tears when you do DEI work. So no, we can't all agree that using the term Karen is offensive. The white supremacist beliefs that these types of people uphold are the issue. Pointing it out is absolutely not the problem. Curious your guys' thoughts on that.
I think it's tough because just hearing the word Karen, is automatically going to trigger a certain, demographic.
Is that from Roots?
No, this was actually from evilhrlady.org.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to put that up. Put that up on the TV and stuff like that, so you guys can see what that quote is. But it's tough because that word's triggering to a lot of folks, so they're going to feel a certain way about that and hearing it, whether you're on the side that's offended by it and believe that you're not actually a Karen.
Yeah.
You could be, just 100%, good white person, but you could be having a bad day and some random person calls you Karen. It's like, whoa, well, like, I'm not really one.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. My whole thing is like, I would like to, before I really made my argument, I would really like to see exactly what was presented.
Exactly. Yeah.
If there, I don't know. Like I could be saying, oh, but it could have been like totally really bad, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, right? So
Yeah.
my thing on that is that I feel like if you're really inclusive, you have to include everybody, right? It doesn't matter. I think you should be inclusive then, right? So I think, yeah, it's fine to have something if certain people are feeling that way, they feel like Karen's getting out of control at the office or whatnot, like the word or whatever you want. Yeah, you should be able to have that conversation. I think. I don't think you should be hurt by it. I mean, it's kind of going back to the whole, I mean, you're not having a month-long Karen thing, right? Or whatever like that. I mean, it's like just like the trans thing right here, right? It's like it's like 1 month going on. You're gonna cry about that, like it's 2 sessions. But again, I don't know what was talked about in the session, so I mean, it could be totally horrible, and I don't know. But yeah.
I think I'm getting an idea. There's another comment. This quotes the spectrum of the American white woman's experience, end quote. And so I think for a DEI group to be lectured on, we need to consider the spectrum of a white woman's experience when we shouldn't be focusing on the spectrum of the white women's America when there's so many other issues happening with this group of people, right, in that room. It's very much like you guys don't have any issues that you're working with anymore. We need to look at the people in power, the white men and women, and specifically the women, and talk about what's hard for them and fix them. And it's like, well, no, that's not solving any of the DEI stuff then.
Or let's offending these people who are in DEI. What are you talking about here? Who are making 150,000 plus, sitting in their cush places. How about your contractors that work for you that are most likely minorities who are not getting benefits and that? Well, I don't want to go there then.
Yeah.
If you're gonna stop crying about that.
Would you guys feel different because the person that was running these sessions was an Asian American? Would you feel different if it was a white woman leading the conversation about DEI? And no?
So my sister-in-law, she did DEI for Redfin actually. And so we had a lot of conversations about different scenarios where she was in where they would want to bring in a white person to run the DEI at different company or whatever. But yeah, like it's counterintuitive to have a white person, because no matter how much I go learn, read, and study, I will never fully understand what it's like to be a person of color in America. No matter how many accolades or certificates or whatever I get, like it needs to come from somebody who's lived, walked the walk their whole life, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think it has to be somebody that fits that, right? But I mean, again, there could be some people that are very passionate about it too, that are maybe white, but they're very big on allies, right?
It'd be a great support role. That's what I would love to do, is be a big support role. But
speaking on things on races, our next topic we're going to talk about is race swapping in movies.
Yeah. Just before we go there, do we wrap up on this then? Anything else on this DEI?
The whole Uber stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think it was great. I think she acknowledged that she made a mistake. And so this is good. Like, conflict like this is good. Like, sometimes, like, these news articles come out and it's like, oh my gosh, another thing. But no, I'm learning through my life coach, Joshua Fields, check him out, that conflict is so good because that's the catalyst for change.
Well, that's the thing.
Uber's,
if you're uncomfortable,
she acknowledged she's going to grow and change because of it.
But if you're going with uncomfortable thing, then what do you think about her quote then? Because her quote did say that. Her quote did say sometimes you need to be pushed out of your. Well, she said a little different actually. Sorry, she said pushed out of your own strategic ignorance is the right thing to do. To get uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what she said whenever like these people came up complaining about it. So do you agree with her?
Oh, well, I took that totally different as, I think how I took it was she was saying like, yeah, I was wrong. I need to be pushed out of my ignorance. But
she said it to them.
It to them.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so my bad.
Yes.
Well, she's on leave right now, right?
She's on leave,
Okay, so I'm guessing she's going to go through some training and possibly, if she's not fired, probably go through some training. And
I mean, a lot of these things do the hush hush. Like, hey, don't make big noise. We'll give you a good bonus.
Is it enough? I mean, is it enough to get you fired?
Shouldn't be.
Like, should you lose your job over something?
My thing is like
trying to do good things.
Yeah, my thing is like, hey, I'm trying to be inclusive here. Like it's like That is your title.
Yeah, but if like that's a swing and a miss, I'm like, that's.
Yeah, I really don't think you should lose your job.
I don't either. My thing is if she's going around being like,
Well,
hey
hold on.
guys, it's a Karen month.
I don't think she was the right person for the job in the first place. Then, if she did this, so like, you know.
I mean, she's been with the company since 2018, so she's been with them for a while.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that she's the best person for a DEI at a company like Uber.
Yeah.
Like, that's a massive company. We should, if they're true about this and they're having low performance, then
But
they
come
should
on,
make a
dude.
change.
There's articles out where, like, even in Meta, there's people in the DEI group that are making $194,000. Like, we're just sitting there begging for work, looking for work. There was no work. They got laid off. But
I mean, she was hired as an Asian female. So their company was being inclusive.
I was gonna say, there's not much.
I would love, actually, I have somebody we could bring in that talks about, they do DEI in corporate companies, and we should totally bring them in and talk about it because, and talk about these topics that we've done. And
yeah, not only bring them, but anyone who's interested in joining the podcast, feel free to hit us up on our account.
Sure.
We'll be sure to
we'll
put it on the screen.
and then we'll get some, topic lists out there to see if we can pull in for some guests. I think we might have some pretty good guests coming on here, so we'll keep that as a surprise right now as we grow.
We're gonna do guests. I'm pumped for that.
Yeah, me too. So excited. But
too.
all right, well, I guess we just kind of wrapped up on that. I think on the DI stuff. I think where we stand. I stand. It was 2 sessions. I'm not gonna cry over it too much. But again, I don't know what was really said in there, so I don't think she should be fired for it. But you?
No, I don't think she'd be fired for it. Same thing with you. We don't really know the full content of it, so it's hard to do a deep dive on it. Maybe if we had more.
Yeah, if we had
information,
more,
we'd
maybe
be able
exactly.
to. But it's one of those things.
Yep.
I mean, everybody makes mistakes and whatnot, and it's an opportunity to grow and learn. But if she's against it, then I think Uber needs to take a good hard look and be like, was she the right person for the job in the first place? And if not, can we grow her into it? But yeah, I don't know if it's worth losing a job. But again, DEI is important, and it's important that you have the right leadership in place, especially at large companies that
Goes
have
back
massive
to
influence.
ESG score.
Yeah, I'm seeing it now.
Because they want
research that.
It's like we need to become investing. We need to be a company that people want to invest in. Raise that score. So. All right, cool. Let's jump on to the next one, which is, kind of the same a little bit with race stuff it talks about. But so we had two big movies that came out that had some race swaps. I mean, there's many more before, but these 2 new ones have just came out. I think Cleopatra on Netflix. That was a change where the Cleopatra was black in that one, right? And then we had the Little Mermaid that had Ariel, who's black in that one, compared to what the original was, right? So I guess just a deep dive here into these. I think, what do you guys think here? I know on the Netflix one, I think it has really bad ratings, right? I think it flopped pretty bad, the Cleopatra one. And then I think Little Mermaid is on its way. Interesting enough, where would you think most of the backlash would come from?
Based off the movie, is just having the lead character be.
Yeah, but what like within the United States, do you think that'd be the problem?
I think within the United States, I feel like it's backlash. I feel like they're one of the main consumers when it comes to like Disney movies and the whole princesses and
so what if
historically.
What if I told you that it was on track to do what Aladdin did its first week, which was not bad.
Yeah.
But where it comes in is that internationally is bombing. That's where it is. Aladdin killed it internationally. The Little Mermaid is not doing. That's kind of interesting to me. I thought it'd be opposite. I thought internationally it would be more, that's cool, right? Yeah. But in the United States, where it's so divisive right now, I thought it wouldn't do as good. But it's actually opposite.
Yeah, I think it was a little tough because even when they first announced that this person was going to be the main character, Chloe Bailey, if I recall her last name correctly, when they first introduced she's going to be a main character, immediately there were backlash because why are you going to remake another movie that people already don't like movies being remade, but remaking a classic Disney movies to what people feel like is one of the more popular movies when it came to Disney's growing up. So behind that backlash, I feel like they may have done like a soft release just in the U.S. just to see how it would go.
They still did good
nationwide. Yeah,
they did good.
First week just came out last week, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, Memorial Weekend.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend, and so it's been killing it in the box office. I personally haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure once it comes out.
I think they're saying critics are mixed on it, really. Maybe on the lower end, but like fans are good on it.
Do you know if it was just Ariel that was?
No, I think there's more. Okay. Switch with character-wise, swap-wise?
Yeah.
No, yeah. For far I know, I think it's just her. But I don't think the critics are really going on just because of the race swap, though. I think it was more of I think some of the words and songs and stuff like that being a little more. I think they had to read something like that. I don't know. I had to look a little more into it. I think it was more that it wasn't just like black leading hair. No, it's nothing like that. But I think there was a lot of, you see debates on news on YouTube about this whole race swap. The Ariel thing was big, especially when the trailer came out. Like, what? She's black, like that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and I think we had some sort of pushback when the Hunger Games movie came out, because one of the I think the main character's best friend. I'm not a book. I never read the book or anything
don't
like
lie,
that.
bro.
But
don't lie. Just tell us. I know you read.
I've seen the movies, haven't read the book, but one of the characters in the books, everyone thought, or after reading it, they thought this person was an African American. But in the movie, I believe they, had that character be a white character, if I recall correctly. And so you had some of those same concepts where, even though this was, a fictional book, people were still mad about who they chose as that character, and the way that person may or may not portray that character based off the book.
Yeah. Then you have the Cleopatra on the other side, which is not we call it made up or nothing. It's actually based on somebody, right? And that had a race swap.
Do you know who that actress that played Cleopatra was?
Something James. Something James, I want to say.
Okay, we'll be sure to put it up there so people know and everything.
I want to say,
like that.
but yeah, I want to say she's from across the pond. I want to say.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, when I saw this thing, I always like to see the cartoon shows that we watch as movies go into live action, right, and see how close it is and how close it resembles. But also, like, Disney in general has a massive history of having like extremely racist.
Well, he's Nazi, right, or a Disney guy, or he?
I don't remember.
Like that, yeah.
Well, but like, so many, like, from Dumbo to like everything you look at, there's so much racism, microaggressions rooted into the media back when Disney was first started, right? So I think it's beautiful and great that there is a race swap, because like it's important that children in America that don't look like a redheaded white girl can see representation and whatnot.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. Guess what? They can change it back to somebody else in the next remake of it.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, Disney is not. I mean, they had a remake of Cinderella back in like '99 or 2000, and Brandy was Cinderella.
And then Camila Cabello was just Cinderella.
Yeah, she was. I think.
Or was she Princess and the
killed
Frog?
it.
Who?
Was she like Princess? Maybe could be thinking different movie.
Who?
Like Princess and the Frog.
No. She Brandy was in the live remake of Cinderella. But the first black princess was the frog one that you're talking about. Yeah. But my thing on that whole thing is, I think if it's not like if it's made up, like Disney and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you can race swap it. I mean, there shouldn't be a problem with it. I mean,
and I looked this up too. Like, mermaids actually stem from like around the southern African regions and whatnot. So like, the Little Mermaid is truly most likely going to stem from,
Yeah.
All I know is, to me, watching, The Little Mermaid as a kid, it seemed like Ursula was a black character, and so the big scary black character and things like that. That was evil. And
I never put that together. I thought she was a big girl. That big girl.
I always thought of her as like Roseanne.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought her and Sebastian the Crab. I thought they
Sebastian was Jamaican.
Who played
Sebastian was Jamaican
Ursula?
guy, right?
Yeah, could be. I don't recall. Now I kind of wish I knew who.
I'm gonna look it up real
real
quick.
Like that. But kind of what Brendan was saying, I think it's good to be able to have people that were underrepresented be able to see themselves across the screen.
Yeah, exactly. I see the thing, like, I think for me it's no big deal in these race swaps for these made up like movies and Disney movies and stuff like that.
They did.
It's McGrath,
Melissa
right?
McCarthy.
McCarthy. Sorry, yeah. But I think just on like these like Disney whatever race swap, that's totally fine. I think what we're getting into, like, since like maybe the 2010s to now, is just like a cycle of remakes. There's just no good original ideas out there, so they're just remaking everything like over and over again, and just trying to catch the nostalgia from back in the day. You see it with these Netflix shows like Full House again. You see all these other ones going back to the well again. So going through that, if that's all you're doing, then of course you want to diverse a little bit. You can't just So I think that's totally fine. I think going forward though, I think they should have more, and maybe what AI will probably start doing this for the writers because I heard they're taking their jobs.
Yep.
But I just say is that let's start creating new stories with new characters that are of these other colors, right? Like let's not go back to the well all the time. Like put some effort into creating somebody's backstory.
I love that because we can have the history, whatever it is, and then we can evolve past these stories and change, and it can be beautiful and representative of who's watching it and whatnot.
And let's be honest, I'm pretty sure Disney didn't create all the stories that they came up with and all those movies they came up with. Guarantee they stole it from folklores, changed it up a little bit.
100%.
Used to be a lot more gruesome than what it used to be. So I'm pretty sure they've changed some of the characters.
Interesting enough, did you know apparently Little Mermaid saved Disney?
That movie?
The movie did. Yeah.
Really?
I guess it was doing really bad at the late '80s, and it came out and. Then after that, other ones started shooting out, like Lion King later on, which killed it, right?
Oh, yeah, in the 90s.
Yeah, so that's interesting there.
Good
but
shit back then.
yeah, right?
Juicy.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, I think just going back, especially with these Disney ones, I think totally fine. Like I said, hopefully we can get out of these whole remake canons for everything and go into new original stories and grow that way, right?
Didn't MLK say something along the lines of let's not judge the movie characters based on the color of their skin, but
the actual
how they actually did in the role, right?
Yeah.
But he says let's not judge people by the color of skin, but the character.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. We should just be fucking cool that it's a human being up there playing a role, and do they tell the story well? Am I encapsulated in what's going on?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that one. From the box office and some of the crazy, I think that one with the race swap, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's doing good in the box office in the United States. I just think what's interesting internationally, it's not doing as well, but we'll see if it catches up there. But I think critic-wise and stuff like that, I don't think nobody's had a problem with her in the role. I think she did a good job, or was told or said she's done a good job. So I think that's fine. Now going back to Cleopatra though.
Yeah, I need to look this up.
Yeah, so I kind of need to watch that movie.
Yeah, so she is Macedonian and Greek.
Okay.
So she would be of, I guess, lighter color, right?
I mean, she seems like she'd fit more the Cleopatra background than the original one that was in the movies years and years ago, and
Elizabeth Taylor.
Elizabeth Taylor. The black and white version.
So my thing is how so that's why I wonder. Macedonian Greek has that look? Because the Egyptians people, they don't believe that was a good representation of Cleopatra, and that's their history, right?
Right.
So that's one thing I would lean toward listening to.
Egyptians demand $2 billion from Netflix for distorting the image of Cleopatra in the documentary.
It was Cleopatra, but it was also her people. They made some of them really white, which they didn't like, I think, or something like that. They switched themselves. So there was a lot of race changing in there. So the Egyptian people are really mad about it. It is their history, so I'm going to respect that, right?
I mean, there's been a lot of, not necessarily blackface, but black people dressing up as putting a lot of makeup to represent themselves as a white character. So it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I just think for me, I think hey, stick to as close as you can if it's a real person. If it's fake, all right, man. If it's if it's a biography historian thing, you probably want to stick to somebody close as possible, right? That I would do.
And I think it also depends on the company and how much the company is willing to, put that money out to make sure that this character is represented well. Because if they're something like Lifetime, and I don't know if you've seen the video clip of the Lifetime movie they tried to do with Michael Jackson and how bad that the actors that they chose for that. I'll show you guys, after the podcast and stuff. But it's pretty hilarious because it was
funny.
Look nothing like what you'd expect.
There's a meme though coming off the Ariel thing, like somebody was arguing about it, like I can't wait for Black Panther again, and they show Ryan Gosling as Black Panther, and then the comments were the funny part of the comments like, oh, I'm so ready for this.
Hey, or even Tropic Thunder or the
I can't believe that happens.
It was funny though.
Yeah, it was funny. Comedy is like the one place, right?
It was a different.
Well, I mean, that's going back to even like I think you guys all like The Office too, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like even Steve Carell's like, dude, there's no way you can make that movie right. And that was show it again, or you do anything
crazy.
Right
yeah.
Parodies are one of those things where you can't be funny or you can't make fun of stereotypes anymore because people.
And this too,
get offensive.
This is. Like when somebody creates a movie or whatever, it's art, right?
Yeah.
Like they get to create a design set, costumes, everything. They get to do the casting. That's the director's representation of how they visualized it, right? that is their opinion in a way too, right? So, and I was just looking up some Cleopatra stuff. Like, for years, she's been portrayed through Vogue France and all different things as like a white woman. It's been, but that's what happens in media that's controlled by white men and women, right?
But the funny part though is that what people are getting mad like, oh, but the Egyptians are like, dude, we were complaining back then when she was also Cleopatra.
Yeah.
But just that the media just wouldn't pick up on it. Now they're picking up on it because there's a race thing again going on right now. So they're picking up. Oh, now they're complaining about this, right?
Not only that, you have the social platform
exactly.
to put it out there, which is it's a pros and cons when it comes to social media.
That's a hard one. Like we talk about like what's okay within comedy. You can be more edgy, right?
Yep.
But art too is like it's up to whoever's interpretation is.
But I think art. If it's like art, like Little Mermaid, it's your interpretation. That's exactly 100%. But I think there's real people you're based on. You're not gonna want to, want to be as closely as possible accurately. That you're not
autobiography.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Is it an autobiography? Okay.
Yeah.
Woo. Because then that's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're basically it'd be like if somebody did a documentary on America and.
Or MLK is like a Mexican.
Yeah, that would not go over too well.
Yeah.
Or like a white guy with a spray tan.
Oh, but Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, dude.
That would be.
Oh God.
Very bad.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. I side with the Egyptians on this one.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But the Little Mermaid was like, dude, that's person's art. Let it go. Let it go.
If you don't like it, watch it. Don't watch
that's
it.
exactly.
Simple as that. You don't like the product, don't.
I feel like a lot of
people.
A lot of people. The stuff we just talked about today, it just feels like they're like it's like they don't like they feel like I feel like they're saying they don't have a choice. Or
they're creating their own suffering.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you have a choice there, right? It's not like it's not like, hey, you have to buy this now.
It'd be like me being like, that movie's kind of scary, so nobody watch this because I'm scared of it.
Nobody.
Protest outside.
Yeah, exactly.
This movie. It gives me nightmares.
Yeah. But, all right, I think we all kind of agree on that, though, where we are standing.
For sure.
That, so. Cool. I think we're at time, bro. A little past time here, but. I think that wraps up for podcast 3, right?
3, yeah. So what's up for next week, guys?
So next week, I think we're going to change it a little bit. We've been hitting some serious topics here lately,
big
right?
Topics.
Some good stuff. I think we got some cool guests coming on and hitting to some big topics still. But let's have a little fun next week and let's talk sports.
Yes.
Right?
Sports.
I'm ready for some sports. These topics are really juicy and
So I think we got some big ones. We're gonna talk, some 90s basketball versus new school basketball versus old school basketball. What's America's top sport now? Talk a little bit about NBA playoffs.
Changed.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that next week, right? So we got that, and we got the golf. What's his name? The golfer. Michael Block. We're gonna lead off of that too. So I think there's some juicy stuff. So tune in. Subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss it when we get back up on this. So without that, I'll sign off from the After Party Podcast. Peace.
Cheers.